The world, for Deadpool, had always been a symphony of chaos, but this was different. One moment, there was the blinding flash, the concussive force of an explosion that had ripped him and the equally unhinged Madcap into a million regenerating pieces. The next, as the molecular puzzle of his body began to reassemble itself, something felt off. Not just the usual post-explosion disorientation, but a subtle yet deeply unsettling shift in the architecture of his own mind. He blinked, a newly formed eyeball adjusting to the gritty alleyway, and a thought, his own thought, surfaced. Well, that was a blast, literally. And then, right alongside it, another thought, sharp and entirely uninvited, chimed in. Oh goody, still here, and stuck in the head of a chimichanga-obsessed clown. It wasn't just a fleeting impression, it was a voice, distinct and undeniable, echoing in the very chambers of his skull. For those familiar with Deadpool's unique internal monologue, imagine, if you will, not just his usual thought bubbles, but suddenly another, distinct box, perhaps in a vibrant, unsettling yellow, appearing right beside his own familiar white and red. Madcap's consciousness, somehow, had been absorbed into Wade Wilson's mind. This wasn't a temporary glitch, it was a residency. And so began a bizarre, unwelcome cohabitation within the most unpredictable mind in the Marvel Universe. The initial shock quickly gave way to a persistent, grating annoyance. Deadpool, a character already conversant with his own multiple internal voices, suddenly found himself playing host to a full-fledged, independent, and equally insane squatter. The dynamic was, predictably, a mess. Madcap, true to his name, was a creature of pure, unadulterated madness, reveling in chaos for its own sake. Deadpool, while certainly chaotic, often had a twisted sense of purpose, even if that purpose was merely to annoy or acquire tacos. Now, every decision, every internal quip, every moment of relative silence was invaded. "Left, Wade, the alley on the left," Madcap's voice would urge, sharp and insistent. "No, the right, there's a hot dog stand there," Wade would retort, even as he was mid-stride. "Hot dogs are for squares, let's burn something down." "We just burned something down, I need a snack." Their arguments weren't just mental bickering, they spilled into the physical world, manifesting in Deadpool's already erratic behavior becoming even more profoundly unstable. Imagine trying to disarm a bomb when one voice in your head is calmly explaining the wiring diagram and the other is screaming for you to lick the wires just to see what happens. This was Wade's new normal. His fighting style, usually a blend of improbable acrobatics and gleeful violence, became a jumble of contradictory impulses. One moment, he'd be executing a perfect parry, the next, he'd be stopping mid-fight to lecture an opponent on the merits of obscure jazz fusion, driven by a sudden Madcap-induced tangent. The constant clashing of their chaotic personalities was like a perpetual psychic tug-of-war. Wade's internal landscape, already a crowded and boisterous place, became a war zone. His sense of self, already fluid, began to fray at the edges. It wasn't just irritating, it was fundamentally destabilizing. There were days, or perhaps weeks, when Deadpool truly struggled to tell where his thoughts ended and Madcap's began. A terrifying prospect for someone who already straddled the line of sanity with such delicate imbalance. The fourth wall, a frequent target of Wade's commentary, sometimes felt less like a wall and more like a sieve, leaking the combined madness of two deranged minds into the world. Thankfully, this strange and unsettling partnership was not destined to last forever. The exact mechanics of their separation are, like many things in Deadpool's life, steeped in comic book absurdity and best left to the imagination. But separated they eventually were. Madcap's consciousness was, somehow, extracted from Wade's skull, leaving him alone once more with his own familiar set of internal voices. But the experience left a lasting impact. When the cacophony ceased, an eerie quiet settled in Wade's mind. For a time, the absence of Madcap's constant grating presence felt almost like a phantom limb, a void where perpetual bickering once resided. It was a strange, unsettling lesson. Wade Wilson, the merc with a mouth, had always been defined by his unique brand of mental instability, his constant internal dialogue. Yet, having to share that space, that intensely personal and chaotic inner world, with an equally deranged individual proved to be a level of torment even he hadn't fully anticipated. It was an uncomfortable truth, laid bare by the most unlikely of roommates. The only thing worse than being in Deadpool's head is having to share it with someone else. It's a story that truly highlights the bizarre and often uncomfortable realities of being Wade Wilson. A reminder that while his mind is a playground for some, for him, it's a never-ending carnival of chaos, amplified to an unbearable degree when another joins the show. What do you think about this wild ride inside Wade's head? Have you ever had an experience, even a metaphorical one, of feeling like your own mind wasn't entirely your own? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the stranger corners of the Marvel Universe, please consider subscribing for more stories like this. Your support helps us explore these fascinating narratives.